podcast, Tech Products That Work.
I feel like AI is the new kid on the block, and he's the cool kid, and everyone wants to be friends with him. And everyone's going, well, I also need to get in on this. What is it I'm going to do? And now the mistake you make is focusing on your bottom line, like you said earlier. That's like where my focus is always at. So that means I can use AI to improve my bottom line. That is where I feel the big mistake gets made. And I'm seeing it a lot. Because the first thing, like, okay, I feel for you if you're a call center, for example, because I know that the competition is steep. So you're almost in a position that if you don't go in this direction, you're going to lose. I don't have the answers for you, man. I'm not a call center specialist, but I'm going to spitball and say something like perhaps focus on a little bit more of a niche and punt to the type of clients that would think similarly, I guess, maybe, I don't know, that human interaction is going to be the new big deal that's going to take over the market. There might not be a lot of guys out there that are going to agree with you, but if you're focusing on a small niche, start it as a side project. Focus on a small niche, try and see if you can get a couple of clients on board, and just take a look there, like almost like a little separate piggy bank that you got going in your organization. And then see and start doing sort of A/B testing vibes between the twos. Like I'm running here and we're pushing AI and whatever like everyone else is doing in my competition sphere. But I've got this little niche that I'm growing over here that I'm just, in the lab and I want to see how it grows. I would put money on that little experiment growing more than what you think it would in the next 5 to 10 years. That's my opinion.
I feel like it's very easy to get sucked into a trap where as you're engaging with this AI, you get sucked into a world that seems to be able to be possible without anybody else and without basically you get into this rhythm of like asking the AI to do this and do that and do that and do that. And the AI is obviously very agreeable. So it's like, yes, this is possible. Yes, this is fantastic. Yes, this is great. Sometimes to the point where if you snap out of it a little bit and you think, hang on, maybe it's not as important as what Mr. AI has been saying. So
first of all, I think using the AI a lot is actually a good thing, ironically, because it's going to disappoint you. And I think therein lies the learning curve. If you use it often enough, by now, or if you have been using it fairly regularly, and I'm not just talking about personal stuff like what can I cook tonight or whatever, I'm talking business related stuff. Like you've actually gone through the painstaking process of trying to implement it into your business in a way that it's going to be helpful and help you output more value or something like that, okay? But you're the one working with it and doing that, then that's going to be a good thing for you because it is going to disappoint you. And that's a great thing because that's where you're going to learn about what these things, limitations are, where it can add value and where it can't. And I think it won't take you very long to realize that there are consequences to, is the word grandizing, over like putting it on too high of a pedestal, because you lose sight of the ultimate purpose, which is for it to add value. And if it hallucinates and the output is a hot mess, that's not adding value. So you then realize, oh, okay, well, I can use this thing, but I better monitor it very closely. And that's a good thing, So I think part of the problem is that there's a lot of execs out there that are getting high on the idea of AI and the buzzword, but they don't really have enough practical knowledge and experience with this tool to understand the good and the bad. And so they're kind of barking from the top down and saying how it needs to be implemented and perhaps maybe not listening to the people that are actually doing the implementation, that are actually doing the work alongside it, which that's nothing new, is it? That's not a new thing. That's not a new problem for a business or a company where you're not actually focusing and listening to the guy on the production floor. And I think now it's even more important because it's not just the machine that's not going to run, as per the Industrial Revolution. If we don't stop production every month and service the machine, it's going to break. And then we're going to have an even bigger problem. We'll have to stop for 3 weeks just to get the thing running again. Okay, cool, I understand that. This is now going another level where it's like, oh, but this thing can actually tarnish the entire brand, because it can start speaking to your clients and promising things that we can't do. And next thing, all the customers are coming back and saying, yes, but this is what you promised me. And next thing you know, wow, I'm in deeper trouble now. I might have to shut my business down, as opposed to the problem previously be fix the thing in 2 or 3 weeks' time. It's a different type of problem now. So it's even more important now to actually focus on what this thing is capable of doing in terms of the negative things. So I would say there's a couple of things you're going to make sure, okay? You got to make sure that you've got guardrails in place. You got to make sure that if you're not the one that's hands-on with this thing, then listen to someone that is hands-on. Listen to a few people perhaps that are hands-on, and sort of make your conclusions or derive your conclusions from there. And and this is probably the most important point, have a very honest and methodical, I want to say almost manual way to measure the value of the output, and be honest with yourself. So, and also in little milestones. So for example, if you disagree with me and you say, no, AI is going to be the new communicator and that's what we need to do, we need to go in that direction, fine. I disagree, but fine. Then do it in a way that if you currently have people that are that makes up your communication layer, then I would suggest bring an AI bot in just as another seat. So you've got, let's say hypothetically, you've got your 5 people that are communicating. Just bring in a 6th person, which is AI, and then measure constantly. Not just speed and, it's getting things done faster and it doesn't cost me as much. Come on, you're better than that. Dig a little bit deeper. What's the customer satisfaction like?
Yeah.
Because you might actually end up realizing that this is going to cost you a lot more in the long run than it's going to save you. And then make an informed decision real quick. My guess is you're going to boot the thing. But I'm biased. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have seen, it's like a meme or like an image that does its rounds of a photo of like a World War II airplane or something, with a bunch of bullet holes in it. And then it's this whole thing about survivorship bias, where all the planes that kept coming back to the airport had holes in these places. And then they discovered, hang on, these are the ones that survived. And so learning from them isn't really helping us. We've got to learn from the ones who didn't survive and fix that. And I think businesses actually suffer a lot of survivorship bias. And I don't necessarily know what the answer is, but we're always getting feedback from our customers. But these are the people who have made it into our funnel. And I fear that that's part of the problem you're going to experience if you use AI, is you're going to suffer a bit of survivorship bias. There's going to be a few people who make it through and they're going to be like, this was great, this was cool. And you're going to be like, yay. But there's like a row of people who just ditched as quickly as they possibly could,